Well, you've been here 8 hours. You've got a new wardrobe. You've run away from home. You have showed up here. You've had a great meal. You've learned to march. You just got to hear a keynote speaker from the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Oklahoma. Do you know how many people sat at home yelling at their TV during the news and wish they could get an answer? You got to get the answer. That's pretty cool of him to do that. Now, our next guy, you're going to really like this guy. He's the guy that he holds this program together, and you're going to get to see why. He's a 1996 Oklahoma Boys State delegate, H.V. Thornton Citizen of the Week winner, a former counselor, senior counselor, deputy director for counselors, chief of staff, recipient of the Boys State's highest awards, the Distinguished Service Medal, and the Josh Drake Follow Me Award. He's an immediate past commander of the Sons of the American Legion, a mechanical engineer from the University of Oklahoma, a lesser school than this. You're welcome. He owns premier law enforcement supply manufacturing in the state and is the proud father of 2 future and 1 current Oklahoma Boys State delegate. You guys have got to figure out who it is. Don't beat him up or anything. It's up to you to figure that out, and then just give it up for Oklahoma Boys State. Come on, come on. This is our assistant director, Mr. Bart Looper.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you doing tonight? So, 26 years ago, right now, I was sitting exactly where you are. And just like a lot of you, I had that look on my face, scared to death, didn't know what the week was. There's a lot of staff in this room that's heard this story probably too many times, but I get a new group to tell it to, so I'm going to tell it. I was a mama's boy. I didn't want to come. However, my mom was my high school counselor, so I didn't get a choice. She told me I was going to come. I had never been away from home. I had never spent a night away from my family. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I got here. We'd done all the marching. We'd done everything that you guys have done. And I was just freaked out. I didn't know what to do. And my counselor could tell it, and he could see it in me. And he sat me down. He spent 5 minutes with me. A man named Rob Broyles. He's now the Surgeon General for the Oklahoma Army National Guard. And he said, trust me. Give me till tomorrow night. Stay with me. Told me this was a program that would change my life. I didn't believe him, but I decided I'll give him 24 hours. And then if I don't like it, I'll do something else. Come the next day, I'd kind of gotten into it. Started to get into it. And then at that time, we did what we'd call pass and review on Sunday night. Now we moved to Thursday night. You guys will do it later in the week. But he pulled me out of the crowd as we were about to march on the field for it and put the American flag in my hand. Didn't know what was going to happen. He just yanked me out of formation and said, you're going to do this. Put me out front, and I carried the American flag in front of my city around the football field that night. And I don't know what flipped, but a switch flipped in me that night. I got more engaged and more engaged and more engaged. And I learned that, hey, if I actually get out there and talk, people listen. I make friends. I was around a bunch of guys that I'd never met before. There's a lot of you that have been in the same small school your whole life. You've known the same 25 people in your class your whole life. You have a whole new group of friends now that you get to talk to that is totally different. You get that chance. You get that chance for something new. And as I got more involved, I got to the end of the week, and total surprise, I won the top leadership award at the end of the week, was asked back on staff. And when they say this program will change your life, I have been all over this country because of the friends and the colleagues that I have met in this program. I have been to the White House. I've stood in the Rose Garden and met the president and for Marine One landing. I have business investors in my personal life that I have just by picking up the phone. my 2 attorneys are both friends from Oklahoma Boys State. You would not believe the guys that are sitting next to you that you have no idea what they're going to be, that 20 years from now you're still going to be friends with. You're going to run into them, and they are going to be this high-level thing. Okay? My best friend from when I was a delegate, the director, Mr. Corey Brooks, he and I still talk weekly. He is one of my dearest friends. I would not have had the things in life. I would have not have learned to get out there. I would not have probably, like I said, I was a mama's boy. This program brought me out of my shell. I probably would not have asked my kid's mother out and been blessed with my 3 amazing children that are my world. Everything in my life tracks back to what changed my life, that changed here. So I challenge you to take every second of this week in. It's 1 week of your life. It is 1 week that will absolutely change your life. So thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. I hope you have an amazing week. I'm so excited to be here and be able to put this program on for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Assistant Director Mr. Looper. Now let me introduce you to the guy in charge. You've seen him up here a couple of times, Corey Brooks. He is a former state senator, and he was a delegate in 1996 with Bart Looper. That's a long time ago, and those guys have been friends because of this place. That makes it a great thing. Senator Brooks, former Senator Brooks, is a 1996 delegate of Boys State. He's the Samsung Scholarship winner, recipient of the Boys State's highest accolade, the Josh Drake Award. He served as counselor, instructor, senior counselor, deputy director of education, chief of staff, and assistant director. He's also a senior counselor at the American Legion Boys Nation, which, by the way, 2 of you will get to attend in Washington, D.C. at the end of this week, or you'll be selected at the end of this week. He has 2 degrees. One is a bachelor's degree from Oklahoma Baptist University. He has a master's degree from the United States Naval War College. He's a former White House staffer of President George W. Bush and a presidential appointee to the Department of Defense. He was elected to the Oklahoma State Senate in 2012, where he chaired Public Safety and Homeland Security Committees. He's an intelligence officer in the United States Navy, combat tours in Afghanistan and on the USS Blue Ridge, as well as shore tours with NCIS. He does not know Gibbs, but he was with NCIS. He's been at the Naval Observatory in Washington, D.C. He is currently a senior military assistant to the Undersecretary of Defense for the Intelligence in the Pentagon. He's a pilot, a skydiver, a scuba diver, and you're not going to believe this, but he even competed on NBC's American Ninja Warriors. Do y'all remember him? You probably don't, because they booted him pretty quick. He was beat by a girl named Heather. Let's hear it for your Oklahoma State Boys State Director, and I'm proud to say he is my son, Commander Corey Brooks, United States Navy. Sure.
Good evening again, gentlemen, officially, and thank you for indulging my dad. He likes to do that. It is a pleasure to be here and to serve in this position. He read a lot of fun things that I've gotten the opportunity to do in my life. Chief amongst those is getting to stand right here with you guys once a year for a whole week and really change lives. That doesn't mean a lot to you right now, I get that, but by the end of the week, I promise you it will. In 1996, I was sitting right there where you're sitting. You're going to hear that narrative a lot because a lot of our staff members have come back because of what this week has meant to them. I met Bart Looper there, and I was pretty fond of that guy as well, and it's been a relationship and a friendship that's gone 26 years now. You're going to make those kind of friends here this week, too. And Bart's just one of many that I have on the staff that I enjoy coming back and getting to work with year in and year out. Because of Boys State, I can honestly say I am where I am. The start that I got getting to go to the White House, along with Jared Harrison, who's one of our other red shirts here, came because of my time at Boys State. One of my mentors here on staff knew a guy who knew a guy who needed some help in the White House intern program and reached out to us. We went, it launched our careers. This place has some connections that you can't even begin to fathom yet, but it is truly a brotherhood that you guys are very privileged to be a part of. This week we're going to unpack a lot of things, and I think one of the most important one is going to be a question we're going to ask of all of you. What does it mean to be an American? It sounds trivial, it sounds maybe simple, but this day and age, it's not. You can look at the news. We had a question about the shooting earlier. We had the BLM situation going on a couple of years ago now. There is a lot going on in our country that is pulling us in different directions. It happens day in and day out. You see it on TV, social media that we already addressed tonight. It's everywhere. And it becomes harder and harder to define what an American really is. But we're going to unpack that this week, and that's one of the questions I really want you to focus on. But I want to give you 3 challenges. I grew up in the Southern Baptist Church, so we always do things in threes, so I'm going to do 3 challenges for you. Sitting here tonight, you've taken in a lot. You guys were very patient in some long lines that happened today. We apologize for that, but you got through it. You've gone through a lot of information coming from your city staff and your senior counselors, your blue shirts. It's all going to make sense in the not-too-distant future. We've got a really fun evening planned for you. It's going to be great. But I want to tell you right now, you are going to get out of this week exactly what you put into it. I'm a political science major by trade. When the lieutenant governor was up here talking about the equations, I was having some trouble following along doing the public math there. This one's very simple. You get out what you put in. You can sit there. Somebody paid for you to be here. You paid for yourself. However you got here, you're here. You can sit there and just be a passive wallflower and let the program go by with you in the near vicinity. Or you can get involved. You can get involved starting right now if you haven't already, and be present in the moment for everything we have to offer you, because everything we do this week, a lot of really big brain people have thought about and put a lot of planning into. And if you engage fully from the very beginning, I promise you, by the time you go home, you are going to bemoan the fact that you have to leave your new friends, this beautiful campus, and the experience you just had. It's going to be amazing. But I'm telling you now, it's up to you. The shirts that are red, blue, gray, we're going to do our part. I promise you that. We're all volunteers. We're giving up a week of our leave to be here to do it. We're going to do it right. Getting something out of this program is completely up to you. And that's my first challenge. Get involved right now and make this week your own. The second challenge I want to show you is you're going to be confronted with your true self. When you're on Instagram, when you're on Twitter, when you're on Snap, you can be just about whoever you want. You get the right lighting at golden hour, you get the right backdrop, you can look like just about anything you need to be. But everything we do in this program, and you're already experiencing it, is designed to be a challenge. It's going to feed into our City of Excellence competitions. It's going to feed into individual awards. Everything that happens here is meant to challenge you. And we do that because we want you to be uncomfortable. Yeah, I said it. We went to a lot of effort to move from a much less comfortable campus last year, our junior counselors can attest to that, to a really comfortable campus this year. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what's in here and what's up here. We're going to put you in uncomfortable situations with a group of guys surrounding you that are your counseling staff, designed to help you deal with it, because we want to put you in a crucible that's going to help you discover your true self. There's going to be days where you're ecstatic because you won an election. There's going to be days that you're bummed out because you lost the big game on the rec fields. It's going to be an emotional roller coaster. And every time something comes your way, you're going to have a bunch of people that you're not going to be able to get away from, that you're going to have to show your true identity to. And our hope, and the reason we do this program in the manner in which we do, is to put a mirror in front of you so that you can see your true self now in a safe, secure environment where the points don't count, and this is just an experience, so that someday in the real world, when you raise your hand and swear the oath in the military, when you go into business, when you pass the bar, when you get admitted to the hospital and take your oath, that you will be able to be the man that you have the potential to be. It's going to be fantastic. But you're going to find your true selves here, and I want you to confront it and deal with it. The third challenge I have for you is I want you to internalize our motto for this week. What unites us is greater than what divides us. I talked about what it means to be an American. Unity does not seem to be high on the list of people. But for us to exist as a nation into the future, unity has got to be there on some level. This country, good, bad, or indifferent, is American. By virtue of birth, by virtue of citizenship or immigration, we're all Americans. We've got to unpack what that means, and we've got to figure out that no matter who you're with and what you're dealing with, this flag right here is the thing that unites all of us. This is an American Legion program. The motto for the American Legion is for God and country, and we take honoring our flag seriously because the people who wear these hats fought under that flag for the freedoms we all enjoy. And we did it because that flag, unlike anything else in this country right now, is the one thing that unites us. That title of being American is what we can all rally around. It's not something to use in protest. It's not something to use to make a point. This is the thing that's grounding us. This is the one thing we can all agree on that represents us. And I think we're going to convince you, if you don't already have that notion, that that's a fact. But I want you guys to look around at everyone around you. Look around at your neighbors, the people you've met today. As we start doing debates, as we start talking, as we start getting into issues, you're going to realize there are people on the left, the right. We're going to have socialists. We're going to have libertarians. We're going to have races that all matter equally. You can see them around you. The church you attend is going to be different than your roommate's church. Maybe he's not churched at all. The education that you and your parents have, be it diploma, trade certificate, PhD, who knows? But it's not all the same. The jobs, whether you wear a tie, whether you've got a safety vest, or where you end up saying, "My pleasure," after someone orders from you, it's going to be different. There's jocks, there's nerds, there's preps, maybe there's goths. We don't know because we all change your clothes when you get here. But we've got people from all walks of life. As you look around this week, as you interact with people, part of this third challenge is I want you to appreciate the fact that the person you're dealing with is a human being of intrinsic value. That boy next to you, that man next to you may not agree, but the fact that he's a human, equal in every way to you, gives him value. And you can be friends with that guy without believing everything he believes. It happens all the time. It happens on our staff. We're going to showcase it for you, and you're going to be amazed. Some of my very best friends, I couldn't agree with less. But I love them because they're a good person. We found other commonality. And I realized, hey, just because they don't agree with my philosophy on everything, they're great. You guys see a lot of things from politicians. A lot of behavior is exemplified in front of you on TV, in the press, everywhere you look. Very little of it's good. We're going to do a whole lot of government simulation this week. And I want you guys to think about this. Do I want to take the easy road when I'm running for office, when I'm debating a bill in the legislature, when I'm arresting people and going through the court system? Do I want to take the easy road and emulate the people that I see in public that are tearing this country down? Or do I want to use this amazing opportunity that's being given to me by the American Legion and practice being the kind of politician and statesman that you want to see someday? I want you guys to practice this week being the change you would like to see in this state. I heard the questions you had for Lieutenant Governor. Your heads are in the right place. You're thinking about all the right issues. And I bet you have some ideas of how to fix it better than the guys in Oklahoma City. Practice this week doing it the right way. Because one of these days, you are going to be that guy up there. And you can default to easy mode, tearing people down, slinging mud, being a jerk. Or you could remember your week at Boy State where you practiced for a whole week being young statesmen. So those three challenges: get involved, deal with your inner character as it's revealed time and again this week, and figure out that what unites us is greater than what divides us. Can you guys do that for me this week? You're going to have a great time as a result. We've got a little bit more business to take care of, and then you guys are going to have an incredible evening. You're going to be tired, hot, sweaty, and ready for bed in much more comfortable mattresses than we've had in the past. So you can thank Dr. Razor down here. And it's going to be a great evening. I can't wait to get to know as many of you as we can this week, but right now I'm going to give you your time back. So gentlemen, stand by for the last very significant part of our ceremony, and good night.
Thank you. Next, we're going to do what we call the Investiture ceremony for the 2022 counselors, senior counselors, and the city we are going to present with their Guidon. These are the Guidons. We're going to learn a little bit about them tonight. Each city is going to have a Guidon. As you can tell, as we go through this week, the cities are going to grow into counties. Counties are going to be part of the state. We're going to have a legislature with a Democrat, Republican, but we don't call them that, side to it. We are going to grow this into an entire state with police, with fire, with all the kind of protection you could think of, everything you see in your towns. What we're going to do with the Guidons tonight is we're going to present them to your city. Here's a little about the Guidons. That looks like a flag, but it is not. That's a flag. Those are flags. The Guidon is special. Each city is going to be presented tonight with their Guidon. Here's where Guidons came from. Militarily, Guidons were always used to mark where a group of soldiers was. It was carried by a person who was always a few feet back and to the side of the commander. The Guidon carrier, the Guidon holder, was always with the commander. It showed where the unit was. It could show where it was going, and people who were watching the battle from behind could see what groups were mired down, what groups were on the move, what groups were coming back, or what groups were in trouble. Now, that was typically what a Guidon did. Guidons are not used that way anymore because we don't need, with all the spectacular communication we have, Guidons have kind of moved back to more ceremonial. And so they are not used militarily anymore because they just really don't fit in that. You're going to be given a Guidon tonight, and you're going to meet your Guidon bearer. The Guidon bearer now has an incredibly important job. You're going to learn from this Guidon that you will find your city in the lunchroom, out on the field, and you know that wherever your city goes, it will go behind the Guidon. The Guidon will lead you wherever you're going to go. Don't call it a flag. There are rules about a Guidon, and we'll tell you some of them. It's a source of pride for your unit. It is a tradition that has been around forever. Now, here's what we're going to do. If your Guidon bearer, which you're going to meet tonight, if he should drop that Guidon, he goes down with it. And he does push-ups as punishment for losing the Guidon. And you guys can wait for him to finish the push-ups to continue on. The Guidon is incredibly important because it will mark where you're to be at various different things throughout the week. You won't follow everybody else. You'll find your Guidon. Now, it's a dubious job for the guy that is going to carry it, but he will stand in front of everyone. He's the rallying point. And here is your rule for the week. Where the Guidon goes, so goes the city. If your Guidon is moving, you need to be there because that's a city. Here are the rules. No one touches that Guidon but the Guidon bearer. You don't touch it. If you see it somewhere and it's not with the Guidon, watch it. Send someone to get him. You don't touch the Guidon. No one touches another city's Guidon. It is not something you prank or do practical jokes with. The Guidon is the most respected physical thing in here. Your city will take care of theirs. It will be housed every night in your city in a safe place. You don't bother anybody else's Guidon. No one uses the Guidon in a respectful manner. It is not a spear. It's not to be waved. Nothing like that disrespectful is ever done to the Guidon. Now, we're going to have the cities come through, but let me tell you about the counties. We have 3 counties here. Patrick County, the namesake is the past national commander, J. Milton Patrick. Drake County is the namesake of the past Department Commander Josh M. Drake. You've heard that name because the awards are given under the name of Josh Drake. Moore County, the namesake is past National Commander Preston J. Moore. These gentlemen are here because at this point we are going to present your Guidon bearer with your city's Guidon, and it will lead you through the rest of the week. Our first city, Bloxham City, named after past Department Commander John Bloxham, and the senior counselor is Mr. Blake Smith. Bryant City, named after past Department Commander Bobby Bryant, Senior Counselor Mr. George Schreiber. Ching County, named after past Department Commander Jimmy Ching, Senior Counselor James Limbaugh. City, named after the past Department Commander Ron Gott, Senior Counselor Mr. Jesse Hunt. Hardison City, named for past department commander John Hardison, senior counselor Mr. Hollis Griffin. Quincy City, named for past department commander Don Quincy, senior counselor the Honorable Marion Fry. Nonamaker City, named for past department commander George Nonamaker, senior counselor Mr. Eric Hamilton. Roan City, named after past department commander Don Roan, senior counselor Mr. John Clayson. City, named for past department commander Tim Smith, the senior counselor and director emeritus Mr. Clay Allen. And this concludes this evening's opening ceremony. If you would, please rise to honor our colors.